Welcome everyone. My name is Valdana and I'm the manager of Vision Australia Library. So today we're here to talk to you and share some exciting news and updates about a new or actually to upgraded library app to take you through some of the key changes and share the latest tips on how to access library content. We do have our colleagues here today with us, Sarah, Jamie, and Maria, and they're the people that have been heavily involved in the design and the delivery of this app. So, yeah, over to you, Sarah.
Hi everyone and welcome to our webinar. One of the good things to come out of COVID is that we can connect with people all over Australia. So it's nice to have lots of you. I can see there's over 100 people joined already, so that's wonderful. I'll just go through a little bit of housekeeping and then we'll make a start and share some information with you about the upgraded app. So first of all, you probably have noticed when you've joined that you've been put onto mute, and we will continue to have everybody on mute throughout the duration of the webinar, just so that we make sure everybody can hear all the information super clearly. We really welcome your questions though, so please feel free to send any and all questions that you have about the upgrade or about anything else that you would like answered. Can you please put those into the chat, which is down the bottom of your window, your Zoom window. If you're using a screen reader, you can access the chat function using keystroke Alt H. So that's keystroke Alt H if you are using a screen reader. We have left time at the end of the webinar to address as many of your questions as we can. So we'll look forward to answering those. Feel free at any time to just pop them in. And we're also going to be making this recording available on our library website, and an email will be forwarded to you in the next little while, which will contain the recording as well. So if there's anything that you've missed, well, you're welcome to ask us to repeat it or make it more clear. We'll also be sending this information on to you. So let's make a start. I'm going to talk a little bit, first of all, about what the new app looks like. So I'm going to be sharing a PowerPoint presentation for that purpose, and I will also be describing what is on the PowerPoint for those who are not able to see it fully. And then my colleague Jamie will go into talking a bit more about the accessibility, using it with a voiceover and other accessibility features. So if there are things that you will be using to use the app, then you'll be able to have that information soon as well. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen and we'll get started. Okay, so by now, hopefully lots of you have upgraded your app in the App Store, both for Apple and for Android. You do this in your App Store. There would have come up an automatic upgrade, which you just need to download, and then it would open your upgraded app. The logo, for those that are able to see it, it's our yellow Vision Australia logo, so yellow background with the blue links. So it looks very similar to our last one. And when you open up the app, the first thing you will see, especially the first time having not logged in with the upgrade, you'll be asked to enter your login details. So these you can enter, and then you can choose to have those remembered, so you don't have to be putting them in all of the time. And it will also ask you to accept the terms and conditions. Now, when you first open up, you may well have a blank bookshelf, which is highlighted here on the left. So at the top, it just says VA Library, but there's nothing showing because nothing's been borrowed yet. And then it also could have the terms and conditions, which you're able to review as you like. So one or both of these will be what you see when you first open up the upgraded app. In order, along the top of your app, there are a few different buttons and options. So I'll go through each of those. But what I've got now is showing our bookshelf, which is our first screen as we enter. And there's two options for how to view this. So on the left, you can have your books in a list view. So each book, it lists the author and then the title, and they're one stacked under each other. There's also a grid view option, which has all of the books in little squares, so 3 wide, and it's showing at the moment 3 underneath. So you can select your books that way. That's just a matter of preference. You may prefer to have your items in your bookshelf one way or the other. It's just up to you. But those options, and if you're wanting to change this, it's up the top left, up the top in the right, there is an option to switch from list to grid. Searching for an item, we do by using our top left icon, which is a 3 discs stacked on each other. And the first option in that menu that it opens is our search function. In regards to searching, we have options to search by keyword, author, or title. And I'll show you some of those in the next one over. I've just given the example here of Harry Potter. So I've searched by keyword. You just pop that into the search bar and press the search button, which is down the bottom on the keypad. And then it will bring up all of the results stacked below that. If you're wanting to change and search for it by an author or a title, that option runs along the top and is in the very middle, and you'll be able to use the drop down there to select author. In this case, I've given the example there of J.K. Rowling, so we've searched her name, and again that's brought up the Harry Potter book, so you can select which one you would like from that list. Once you find a book that you would like in the list, you can click on the title, and then you have the option to read more about it. So that will give you a little summary or blurb of the book. And the option, which is a large blue icon, which runs the whole length of the app, about a third of the way down the page, is the add to bookshelf option. So this one we press in order to loan the book. Once you do that, it does take a moment to add that to your bookshelf. And then once it has added it to your bookshelf, a little notification box will pop up, and it will tell you the title has been successfully added to your bookshelf, and you're given the option to press confirm just to say yes, great. So that item will then have been loaned to you. A few of the settings in the app. Now, some of these are similar to what we had previously, and we also have some new ones. So I'll just go through those. And to access our settings, we again go to the left side menu with the 3 discs, the same one we accessed for search. We can go further down and choose settings. I'll just talk briefly through some of the settings. The first one is an option to sort our bookshelf. Now, you might have personal preferences about how you access items in your bookshelf. You might want to have the last listened to or the last used right at the top so you can find that quickly, your most recently loaned, or the title or author. So again, this is just a complete personal preference, but it gives you the option to sort them in a way that makes sense for you. And then below that, we have 2 options for player mode. Now, this is something that's new with our upgrade. You have an option to put your player into advanced or simple mode. And I'll show you what those 2 screens look like and describe those for you in a moment. But basically, this affects the player screen. So when you're actually listening to a book, this is where you'll notice the differences between the advanced and simple. And we'll talk through those. Further down from there, we have some player settings around accessibility. And again, these are for you to alter according to your preferences. For example, you can change your text font, the size, the line spacing, highlight color, and all of those are, just dependent on what you like, and you can kind of have a play around with those and see what suits you best. You also have the option right at the bottom to select yes to use the mobile network. And that's just a little button where you press and it'll turn green if you say yes. This depends, I suppose, on your mobile allowances and whether you're wanting to be able to access the books if you're away from your Wi-Fi. So that again is up to you whether you would like to enable that or not. I'll just show you now the view options. So as I said, there is a simple view and an advanced view. So on the left, we have the simple view, and I'll just describe that. So we've got at the top the title of our book, which is V is for Vengeance. And below that, we have a list of the chapters. Sitting on top of this, we have our player options. So we've got our play button, which is right in the middle of the screen. We've got our forward and back buttons either side of that. So that sits on top of our list for our book. In our advanced view, this menu is down the bottom. So we have, again, our chapters and everything listed there. And at the bottom, we have the player functionality, so our forward, back, and our play buttons. When you have loaned a book, each of them, you will be able to access the menu for each item individually, because you'll want to be doing different things with the books that you have loaned. So when you are back in your bookshelf and you have your books listed, to access the menu, you just need to press down on that particular book. And this is very similar to how it was in the previous app. So you'll probably not likely notice much of a difference. This brings up the following options. We can open the title, which of course we would to listen to the title. You can access the title details, which might be good if you're wanting to refresh yourself about what the book is about. It will take you back to the summary of the title. You can also download it. So this is a great option if you're going to be working offline, or you're going to be offline and you're not wanting to use your mobile data to listen to the book. You can download it ahead of time, which is great. And then the bottom one is return title. So as I'm sure many of you know, that there is a loan time on each item, but of course you can return an item earlier if you're finished with it, or you just picked a dud. So just press that one and you can return it, and that will disappear off your bookshelf. One last thing I wanted to mention, and it's not unique to our upgrade, but it's a really great little feature, which is always good to highlight, is our sleep timer. So the sleep timer enables you to continue to listen to an item on your app, but not if you're not wanting it to play all night, if you think you're going to drift off to sleep, but you're wanting to have something to listen to and not get to the morning and find you've missed the whole book. So you have an option to set this for 15, 30, 45, or 60 minutes. And after that time has elapsed, the player will automatically stop playing your book and hold your spot where it stopped. Alrighty, so that is, I'll just stop my share. That's just a bit of an update on some of the features, some of them which look a little different and some of them probably don't look very different. What I'm going to do now is hand over to Jamie, and he's going to speak a little bit more about what the app does look like using accessibility features, and also some troubleshooting and tips. Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Hello, everyone, and good morning, good afternoon, whatever the time of day it is where you are. It's lovely to have you here listening to this or looking at this presentation. I particularly want to talk about some accessibility features with this app, and also talk about some highlights and some troubleshooting. So in terms of accessibility, and Sarah did a great job of describing visually what the app looks like. So when you open the app, so if you tap on your screen, the app opens. The bookshelf, as Sarah said, it has the VA library, and then it has some icons across the top. Now, if there's no books in your bookshelf, it'll look empty, but it will have the icons across the top. Now, if you're using voice, say with an iOS device or an Android device, it'll say on the top left, it'll say menu, VA library, book, or show categories. And then you've got the grid view button, and that's what Sarah's talking about. You can change the view of your bookshelf. So if it says grid view, if you're using VoiceOver, that means that list view is what's showing, and that's the default. And if you keep gesturing across to the right, or if you keep flicking to the right, you'll come across your items in your bookshelf. Now, by default, unlike the previous version of this app, the bookshelf is all in one. So all your items, subscriptions, etc., are all by default is what you see. And that is also in line with Daisy Player. So if you've used a Wi-Fi player or 3G player or Victor Stream, you'd be used to navigating through your bookshelf and finding your newspapers and magazines all in one. Now, if you don't want that, there's a button called All Categories. And if you tap on that, you can then swipe to the right and change that from all categories, book, magazine, etc. And then that will change the view of your bookshelf. So if you tap book, it'll only show your books. So, and some people like that. Some people like to be able to determine what their bookshelf looks like. So another thing I'd like to explain is as you flick across and you hear the book title, it'll tell you the title, it'll tell you if it's downloaded and how long or what your reading position is in that book. So if you've been reading, if the book is 15 hours long and you've read 5 hours, it'll say 5 hours, for example. Now, if you flick to the right again, it'll say more options. Now, that relates to what Sarah was talking about, the little menu next to the book, the 3 little dots. If you tap on that, it then brings up the options to download or return the book. So unlike the previous version of this app, you had to double tap and hold on the book title to bring up that screen. Now you don't have to do that. So you'll hear, so you hear the book title, flick to the right, and it says more options for the line feed, for example, and you would tap on that. So now when you open a book, this app doesn't have any sounds, but it says loading title, in progress, loading title. So visually, you would see the circle on the screen. I hear voiceover on my iPhone saying in progress title loading. And at the moment, it can take a little while because there's a lot of people using the app and have moved to this app. And okay, so I've opened a book. Now, the simple view, which Sarah talked about, as she described, is like a clock face. So up the top, at 12 o'clock, you've got an up button. At 3 o'clock, you've got the next button. At 6 o'clock, you've got a down button. And to the left at 9 o'clock, you have back button. So, and in the middle, you've got a play button right in the middle of the screen. So by default, the book is defaulted at any level navigation. So that means that is, if you tap through that, you'll get all your chapters and everything. So if you want to change that, if you can tap the up or down button to change the way the book is navigated. So if there is pagination, in other words, if the book is marked up with pages, you can tap the up button until it says page. And then when you tap the button at 3 o'clock, which is the next button, you'll move by page. Or if you want to move by time, say 30 seconds or 2 minutes, it will navigate by those elements. So some other interesting features with this simple view is that on the left, you get the book title when you're navigating. Then you get a set reading speed button, so you can change the playback speed of the book. And then you've got a table of contents button, and if you tap on that, you can then navigate through chapters. Or if you've added a bookmark, if you touch down the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you can change that from to bookmark or page, for example. So it's a way of actually changing the way the navigation works. But if you want to look at the table of contents of the book, let's say you've fallen asleep and you want to quickly get back to chapter 5, you can tap on the table of contents, and then you can find chapter 5 and tap on it. And then, as Sarah described, there's 3 little dots on the top right-hand corner of the screen. If you tap on that, you'll get you'll come up with more options, as it'll say the voiceover, and there you can add a bookmark, you can search text, etc. So that's just a few little tips if you're using the simple mode. The advanced mode screen is a lot busier in terms of it has the layout of the chapters and on the screen, and the play controls are on the bottom right-hand corner, the previous, play, and next. Okay, so as Sarah described, one of the nice new features about this app is the sort bookshelf. So you can have the most recent book displaying at the top all the time. So your bookshelf is sorted by most recently read, you can sort by date, etc. So that is a nice feature. All right, I'm going to now just talk a little bit about search. So for people using VoiceOver or Android, when you tap on the menu, which is on the top left of the screen, and it says menu, the first item you tap on is search. Let's say you use a keyword search, you would type in your keyword search or dictate in the search term. Let's say you're looking for biographies, for example. You would then either on the keyboard hit return to activate the search, or if you tap the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, there's a search bar. The other thing you can do is there's a recent search item that you can tap or button, and if you tap that, it shows your most recent searches. And you can also sort your search list by list view or grid view if you wish. So there's sort of the key things I want to talk about. I've got 4 pages of Braille here, and I know I'm not going to get through it all. Just a few little tips now in terms of using the app. I mentioned before, if you want to fast forward or rewind a book, with this app, you've got to go in simple mode. You've got to tap the up button until you get 2 minutes, 30 seconds, etc. You can't actually hold down the previous or next button to fast forward a book. Remember that sometimes when you do open a book, it can take a little while to load. And if you open the app and the bookshelf is empty, normally if you wait 30 seconds or a minute, depending on your connection, your books will load. So just a little bit of patience there when opening the app, and your books will come up. You can also download a book. So if you download a book and as Sarah described, tap on the little menu next to the book and select download, then your download book should work anywhere, regardless of whether you're online or offline. If you're using older devices, we have noticed, or we have been told, that some older devices are a little bit battery hungry. We're aware of that, and that will be looked at in a future update. So if you are concerned about that, that is being looked at. So another suggestion I would make to you is that with the bookshelf, you can also decide you've got the option to look at Daisy text or Daisy audio. With Daisy text, of course, you can see the text on the screen, and the option in settings to change the text will change that screen. So if you're looking at a newspaper, if you want to change the view of the newspaper, the text, then you can do that. Now, with this app, your whatever voice you're using is what will read the newspaper. So if you're using Karen or Lee or somebody else, Alex, whatever voice you're using is what voice will read the newspaper. Now, I'm not sure how long I've spoken for, so perhaps I better stop and see if there are any questions and hand over to Maria, who's got some updates to talk about.
Hello everyone, it's Maria here. Okay, so we have some VA Connect version update. One thing is we just wanted to make sure that everybody has updated to the new version of the VA Connect app. If you haven't, it may be that you need to you're manually updating your app, so you need to do that and go into the Google Play or Apple Store and do that manually. The other thing is that podcasts are not available on the app at the moment, but they will be available on the 4th of November when we do the major update to the library. So we do apologise for that. The VA Connect 2 app is now no longer available on the App Store or the Google Play. And the reason we've removed that is because it's no longer relevant to any new users, because they will be able to download the one that everybody else has got now, VA Connect, and the versions now are all the same. The other thing too is to bookmark where you're at. When we do the changeover on the 4th of November, your bookshelf will then point to the new library service or the upgraded library service. So we do suggest that you, on the night of the 3rd, that you know where you are up to in your book, and you make sure you know what chapter you're up to or finish reading your book. The other thing we need to let you know is that we are updating everything into the new service. So it is moving over to the new platform. There will be, if you're uploading any books or downloading any books onto your bookshelf between now and Tuesday, there may be a little bit of a gap into what you download and what's going to appear on your bookshelf. We're trying to do it as close to the changeover as we possibly can, but we just wanted to let you know that there may be a little bit of a gap there. That's probably the main of the updates. Jamie, have I forgotten anything, do you think?
No, I think you've covered things pretty well, Maria.
To do with the app, I think so.
Yes.
That's fine. We might go over to Sarah and Naomi, and Vildana's going to join us as well. We've got a few messages in the chat. I think Sarah's going to read some of those out, and then the three of us are going to field those questions and answer them for you.
Thanks, Maria. We've got some great questions have come through, and feel
They
free to keep
have.
popping them in. I'm
I
going to
can't
get these
see them.
guys on their toes. That's all right, Jamie.
It's going to take you by surprise, Jamie. We'll let you answer
You
them
never
all.
know.
I'll direct them where, if I think I know where they're headed. If not, I'll just read the question out and you guys can jump in. The first one I think is for you, Jamie. Bianca's asked, how with the new app, how are clients supposed to know when a book is due, and will they still get an email letting them know a book's about to be returned?
That is a very good question. In the new library world, books will not have a loan period, not as in audio books won't. So you'll have a bookshelf limit of 20. So if you've got a bookshelf full of 20 books, you will need to return one to add another one. So they could sit there for 6 months and there'll be no overdue notice except for hard copy items like Braille, etc.
Excellent, thank you. And the second half of that question is about the Victor Reader, Trek or Stream. Do books need to be deleted manually if a user wants to return the book, or keep the book on the Trek or the Stream?
So the book will need to be deleted to get it. If you've got a full bookshelf, you'll need to delete one to get another one. But if you've only got 5 books, then you can keep adding to your bookshelf until you've got 20. I will say that with newspapers, magazines, there is no limit and no loan period either on those. So if you want to keep today's age for 12 months, you can if you wish.
You never know, people might want to read back over the headlines, I suppose.
They might.
How good is
Especially
that?
after next Tuesday. Is that election day over in the US, I think, isn't it?
Tuesday, Wednesday, yeah.
Mm.
Wonderful. Another app question for you, Jamie. I'll keep them coming. Is my username my email address, or is it my membership number? Carol asks.
Oh, well, so whatever you're currently using, if you're currently using your library member number to log in, then that's what your username will be come the 4th of November. If you're using your email address and the password, then that's what you'll use after the 4th of November.
Wonderful. And the same with the password, is that correct, Jamie? That the current password is still remains the same?
Yeah, so whatever your current login credentials are, that's what you'll keep using.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. And so people won't need to go and change their password then? That'll all remain the same? Excellent.
No, that's right. So come Wednesday. Sorry, this is no good. Come Wednesday, if they go to the website, they'll just log in with their normal details.
Wonderful. I've just had someone here specifically ask if you could speak about personal content, Jamie. Are you able to cover that just for a sec, please?
Yes. So in the app, in the menu on the top left, when you tap that little area and it says menu with voiceover, in there is an option that's called personal content. That has nothing to do with the library. That is for your own personal content, and that is for, let's say, if someone gives you a Daisy book and you've got it in Dropbox and you want to hear it somewhere, you can click on share and then share it to the app. So it's available in that area in the app.
Wonderful. I think I've seen this come up a couple of times, is about having the option to search. So I think we both touched on that, Jamie, that you can change the search to keyword or to author. But Natalia and somebody else have mentioned that they're having issues with that. Is there?
Okay, so it's a little bit different to the old search in the previous version of the app. In this one, you've got to tap on that where it says keyword button with voiceover. You tap on that and then you've got, as you said, a drop down. Sarah, for me, it's a picker, which I would flick up to change. Okay. So you change from keyword to author to title, and then you flick to OK, and then that changes that default from keyword, etc. So I remember when I first looked at the app, well, I think it was a long time ago now, last year probably sometime, and I think, how do I change that? And once I figured it out, it was sort of easy, but initially I had to figure out, how do you change that? So it's a picker that you tap on that and then you've got to swipe up to change it.
Okay, great. There's a couple of questions, and maybe Maria, you might be good to answer these ones about future updates and some suggestions of things that could be added. For example, Stephen asked, would it be possible to recommend titles based on what a person has previously loaned? And also, is there going to be sorry, I've just lost this, an option to search by genre?
So that's advanced search. I'm happy to sort of answer a bit of that.
Go, Jamie.
There is a plan to, in future updates to the app, to have advanced search so that you would be able to do that, and recommended titles, etc. They're all things that we would like eventually. So they are on the drawing board. Yes. I can't say when though.
Okay. I know when I listen to Spotify, I'm always glad when they recommend things for me, because I think, as Stephen said, you're not always quite sure exactly what you want to listen to, but I believe you can still call the library if you're wanting some book recommendations. Is
Absolutely.
that correct? Yep.
Yes.
We love to recommend books.
Absolutely. And there is a suggestions email, I believe. You can send it to suggestions. Is that right, Jamie?
Yes, that's correct.
Suggestions at visionaustralia.org. And we're always looking for new suggestions for new titles.
Well, and certainly send them through the library email if you wish,
Or
library at visionaustralia.org.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll make sure that they're passed on for sure. Please keep suggestions coming. And and if you're ever not sure, if you know you like to read a specific genre but you don't have an author or a title, we love to recommend things for you. There is, I know, I'm being aware of time, but trying to get a couple more questions in. About the sleep timer, there's been a couple of questions, probably Jamie again. Is there a way to access it without having to go into the more options menu?
No.
Okay.
It's the same as the bookmark. You've got to go in there to add a bookmark. So that's probably one click away from the old app where it was in the book player screen. They tried to keep it more simple. So you've got to go into that area to add a bookmark or to access the sleep.
Okay.
Because they're considered to be more advanced functions, I suppose. So that's why they've made it hidden away a little bit.
Oh, I see. Yes. And what about, again, with the sleep function? Is there a way to keep it on for the same period of time each time I press play? Dan asks.
You've got to, well, each time you set sleep, you would then have to then come back and reset that. So, if you've set it for 30 minutes and it ran out and it turned off, you went back in there again, you'd have to reset it.
Okay, no worries. Well, thank you. Cheryl's provided some feedback about the sleep timer, so we'll definitely, take into account everything that people are asking. Are we having a change to the library website?
Yes, we are. So it's going, the iAccess website is moving. It's moving onto our own website. So everybody, when they log in on the 4th of November, when you log into iAccess, you're going to be rediverted to our new website. You will come to what we're calling a landing page, which will give you some instructions there that if you haven't already downloaded the update to the app, you will be directed how to do that. I did notice a question on here about the Envoy Connect. Your software for the Envoy Connect will automatically be updated. If you have a Daisy player, the software for the Daisy player will automatically be updated. If you have a downloader, there's a message going out that you will need to download some new software for the downloader, because that is going to change to the new kiosk software. There's some great news. I'll just divert a little bit for the Envoy Connect users and the downloader users. The update for that, you will be able to select what books you want to remove from the Envoy Connect and the downloader, and just put on the books that you want. You won't have to clear the whole bookshelf in the future.
Cherry picking.
After the 4th, yes. Cherry picking, that's what Jamie's calling it. So that's great news. And then once you've read all that page, you'll just have to click a button that will take you through to the new login page. And for those of you that like to bookmark pages, you can bookmark that next page. And some people will have on there, if their computer's set up to do it, that you can save maybe your password on that page. You might be set up to do that. And then from there, it's a beautiful, clean page where you can see there's a taskbar on the left with all the links through to your bookshelf, and I'm sure you're going to really like the new website. And we'd like to get your feedback on that when you log in there on the 4th. So yeah.
Excellent. I saw a question here, and I actually wondered it myself about the speed of narration. I know with our previous version of the app, you could change that. Can you still amend the narration speed?
Yes.
And how would you do that, Jamie?
I did mention that, but maybe I didn't cover it well enough.
Okay.
So when you go into the player screen, there's a button there that you tap on that says reading speed, and you tap on that, and you again, it's a picker. It's set on 100%. You can flick up to increase the speed and flick down to slow down the speed. And once you're off the default setting, if you to the right, or if you flick to the right, for me, there's a restore defaults button, and that'll bring it back to normal. So absolutely, the speed reading or variable speed is a key part of advanced DAISY functionality. It's in the players and it's in the app as it was in the previous app.
Wonderful. That's great. And having this new partnership with Bookshare, does that mean we're going to stop recording audiobooks ourselves?
No. Do you want to answer that, Vildana?
Yes, absolutely. No, that we will be still continuing recording books and take your suggestions and still have, continuing kind of the production of audiobooks. In particular, we give priority to those ones that are coming from you. So yes, please do email us and let us know. But yeah, human narrated books are absolutely a big part of our library, and it will be well balanced out against the Bookshare title, which is synthetic speech.
I think everyone will be super happy to hear that. And our volunteers that narrate our audiobooks are just amazing. We're very grateful.
Can I
Roger,
just sorry, Sarah, to interrupt you. Can I just clarify something about Bookshare? We are moving our library to the Bookshare platform. It is still our library, and we will have access to the Bookshare content. So you will find that when you search when you search our library, that you will start seeing some of the Bookshare free titles that you can access and have a listen to them. All of the Bookshare content is in synthetic voice. So the vast majority of their content is educational and technical books, but there are a number of titles, and you will see that they will be in DAISY text format, not DAISY audio. So they are easily identified. So if you're wondering what some of their books sound like, please, by all means, download those. They're free titles and you have full access. If for any reason that you do want to join the Bookshare library, you can put that, you can email the library and request that. The cost is, I think it's 45 Australian dollars. It's about 30 US, it's about 45 Australian dollars per annum. And Vision Australia is going to pay that for you on your behalf for the first 12 months. And then after that, you will be charged through Vision Australia for that cost. A lot of their titles are actually available in eBraille, which a lot of people who study, we do have some Vision Australia library members who already do have a Bookshare membership. And mainly because they're studying, so they find it really useful for the content that they have for their studies. They don't have a very large recreational catalogue, so it may not be very useful for a lot of our members. But if you're studying, I think you'll get a lot of use out of it. I hope that clarifies everything. But we're actually not moving to the Bookshare library. The Bookshare library is a library in its own right that is owned by Benetech. and they're the ones that we're partnering with in this, but we are moving our library to the Bookshare platform. So I hope that clarifies a few things for a few people. But don't worry, we are not going to produce anything in synthetic voice, and all the books on there that are in synthetic voice are actually the Bookshare content, not our content.
Maria, can I just make I thought of a little tip that I should have mentioned earlier
Yeah, sure.
to do with the updates. Just to be mindful that from Wednesday, when you're using the app and you're adding books, the books sometimes might take longer to add. So when you add a book, don't be alarmed when you go back to your bookshelf that it's not there straight away. It might take, I don't know, 30 seconds sometimes or a minute to add. So just don't get alarmed if you think, oh, I've added a book and it's not there.
The other good thing about moving our library over too is that we're not going to be relying so much on the internet. So moving our library, this is one of the reasons why we have moved, is the stability of moving our library to this platform. Right now we're relying on people like Optus who's hosting our library at the moment, using the iAccess website as it is, which is sort of failing us in so many ways, and because it's old, and we do have a lot of complaints about the library and the app and everything. So this is why the updates that we're doing to the library service are so vast, and that a lot of time has been put into updating everything that we hope that you're going to be happy with. Please bear with us. There are going to be a lot of teething problems, but we've also going to have a lot of updates that are coming. So we need your feedback and need to know a lot of these things that are maybe people like you that are the users that feed things back to us that we get ideas about, and we can take those ideas, and when we get a lot of people saying that maybe we can improve things, that we can put those through to the developers and say, can we have some of these changes put in place? They won't happen overnight, but over time that things can be updated.
It's only the start.
It is only the start. We've had some very good feedback so far.
That's great. A couple more questions and then we might wrap up. Appreciate lots of people might have joined during their lunch break. So I think these ones are for you, Jamie. Peter, he's still not sure how to access his magazines.
So the magazine should come up if you haven't changed the way you sort your bookshelf. If it shows, if the if the icon says all, then everything should come up together in the one bookshelf. To be sure, you can tap on that icon and change it to magazine, and then that will show you specifically what magazines you've got available.
Great. I've just seen one question pop up from Joshua, and I'm going to answer it because it's my area. A question about, will we have more contemporary titles for younger readers? Absolutely. We continue to grow that area for sure of our library. And you're always welcome to recommend titles. I see you mentioned Dogman. If you ever wanted to recommend or suggest titles for younger readers, please do so. You can email library@visionaustralia.org or the suggestions email, and that will be forwarded to me as the children's librarian. One more question, and also just to reiterate, this will be available, this whole webinar will be available soon. I know somebody asked about that and whether we would have a podcast. I'm not sure if we'll do a podcast version of this, Maria or Jamie, or whether another webinar at some point.
I'm sure there'll be more webinars in the future.
Yeah.
Somebody
Absolutely.
also asked
we
about
will have more webinars, but this will be available.
Yeah. Somebody asked about updating the app. What I'll do is I'll put the instructions for both Android and iPhone on our website on how to update the app. Wonderful. It might be helpful.
And how would people get in contact to have specific help with the app or to have some more questions answered? What's the best contact, Jamie?
The library email, library@visionaustralia.org, but also, as Maria says, look at the Vision Australia webpage under Service and Library, and the frequently asked questions on that page are continually updated, or they will be. So yes. There's a number of different avenues, of course, or you can call us on the 1300 654 656 phone number.
Excellent.
And of
No
course, I'm
worries.
happy to talk to anyone if they, specifically want to ask me something.
Yeah, for sure. Wonderful. Well, I think that probably wraps us up today. Thank you, Maria and Vildana and Jamie, for
Pleasure.
all of your insight. And we've got some nice thank yous coming through. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Please continue to keep in contact with us. We know it's a big period of flux, so it can be a little bit disconcerting for people, but that's what we're here for, to support everybody. So please get in touch with the library at any time, and we hope you enjoy our updated app.
Vision Australia.
Blindness,
Low vision.
Opportunity.
Vision Australia logo. 3 navy blue ovals linked together diagonally within a bright yellow rectangle.